2.
Hello, you divine infinite human beings, you're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And welcome, welcome, welcome to the Infinite Human Talk Show. Today's a very special show. I'm going to be talking about my pilgrimage to Malta and what I have called the return of the goddess. And, this is kind of new to me, so I'm working with some technical stuff now. So bear with me because it's live, it's new, and we'll be starting the series really soon in the fall too. So today, okay, I want to begin first by just letting you, wherever you are right now, even if you're busy, just find that peaceful state inside of yourself. You don't have to close your eyes. If you're driving, you're not going to have to, go under, but there's this divine infinite source part of you, always present, always there. So let's just take a minute to tap into that as you breathe in, I am, and exhale, peace, 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 peace. And then once again, breathing in, I am, and exhale, love, 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 love. And breathing in one more time, I am, and exhaling, infinite, 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 infinite. And just feel that divine spark of infinite source, which always burns brighter, brighter, brighter. Let's let it really burn bright within your heart of hearts, within your very soul. It is always there. It is always present. It is something you can always connect to in any moment that you need to find that your power, that you need to find that peace, that you need to find that truth. It all resides within, within, within. And we're all coming back online. So if this is the first time you're meeting me, I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm the author of the book, The Infinite Human, which is behind me. And it's a book that I've come out that pretty much covers every aspect of life and talks about how we really are on a fallen planet. In fact, it's even more, and I think everyone can pretty much agree on that. I used to do esoteric tours in Florence, Italy, and I had people from all over the world. And one thing everyone agreed on, the planet is messed up. It's got a lot of problems. And that's not normal. It's not normal. So it's not only our planet, though. I'm going to really expand it out to, it's our universe, or actually we're a multiverse. So it's our whole multiverse time vector that has fallen probably about as low as you can possibly fall without totally losing your ability to return back to infinite God source. And we are now, as of 2012, which the Mayan calendar calls the end of end times, the end of the earth, and we have the whole biblical, the end of everything. And it is the end. It's the end of the fall. It's the end of the artificial time loops that we have been in. It's the end of everything being. It's about as far fragmented and away from divine infinite source as possible. And in my book, I begin the whole chapter about the divine storyteller being infinite source or God. And I say we're all stories in the mind of God. And the more you write yourself away from the word of God, in the beginning there was the word frequency of God, the more your life begins to fragment, the more it begins to unravel, the more you begin to experience trauma and conflict, and you begin to identify with, all these characters rather than, and that's why we did the meditation at the beginning of connecting the divine infinite spark within, that divine infinite spark. So that is the true essence of everything. That is what the law of one is based on. That is what people talk about when they say the oneness of all things, the unity consciousness, the fact that God is in everything. God, infinite God source is in everything. And I use the word infinite because source, if you just say source, it can mean many different things. You know, Elon Musk's concept of source, which is an AI source, is very different than my concept, which is infinite. It's not, there's no limitations. It's infinite source. It's all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And it is you. So we're talking about and we're experiencing, we're going to talk a lot on this show, and it's going to be happening every Monday, 6 o'clock Rome time, live. And we're going to be talking a lot about this amazing time we live in, an unprecedented time, because we are what I call resetting, the real reset. It's not a reset to artificial intelligence, to AI. It's a reset to the infinite, to the divine infinite source. It's our return home. It's our return to an alignment with God's source. And because of that, though, we've fallen so down. It's kind of like, you know, let's say you're on a bus or a plane that's making a huge turn. You know, lots of times everything gets, you know, mussed up, you know, everything gets you know, discombobulated and shifted, and we're shifting very rapidly, very rapidly. As many of you, especially the more you awaken, the more you unplug from the dream state, from the comatose dream, and wake up in the dream, the more you are becoming aware of how these timelines, you know, are like shifting very rapidly, and the reality is changing every day. And some of it is depending on where you're at vibrationally, your frequency, and we're going in and out of many different timelines, many different realities. But you may feel wonderful one day, because I say it's the best of times and the worst of times. So it can be very high when you free yourself, when you're tuning into infinite source, when you're just, you know, gliding into that higher dimensional realities of the fifth and beyond. It feels wonderful. But then you might all of a sudden, you know, and many of us are experiencing right now a lot of those dark nights of the souls, those feelings, those emotions of fear, of depression, of guilt, of shame, of all that is coming out, but it's coming out to be detoxified. So your true self can happen. So you're purging. It's a purge. It's and it's a very beautiful thing, because I know for myself, when I used to and still do, when I go through those moments, those shadow self dark nights of the soul, I'm realizing that I'm actually embracing them. I'm loving them, because I know I'm going to feel so much better. And just like you're on maybe a sugar detox, or a, you know, detoxing your body from heavy metals or whatever, you know, at first you have what modern medicine is pretty much taken out of the equation, but it's called a healing crisis. And it's very much a part of true deep healing. And that's when, you know, your body makes a shift from, you know, being inundated with toxins, and it begins to purge it, and it all comes out. You know, it might come out, you know, many different ways, you know, through all your orifices. But you know, and it can be unpleasant. But so many of you are experiencing that right now, and you may be experiencing it moment to moment. You know, you may be having roller coaster emotions, and that's all good and fine. Because you have to realize we're in a huge, monumental shift, a time of great change, great upheaval, great social upheaval. You know, our governments, our economy, our education, our medicine. And basically, in my book, The Infinite Human, which is on Amazon, which is behind me, I go through each of these institutions, whether it's government, education, religion, you know, relationships, twin souls. I talk a lot about that. And our whole concept is shifting. And we're realizing how finite, okay, or how codependent, or how miasmic, or how diseased, how unfunctional our entire planet has been. Everything has been wrong. It's been based on a fallen system, because we've been fallen for a very long time, which is fine. Okay. It was all just a story, just think of it as, like Frodo, wrestling with the Gollum and the side of himself, that wants to keep the ring, or, Luke Skywalker trying not to be like his father, freeing himself from his, parentage, his ancestral miasma. I mean, we all have these dark sides that make us stronger. So, you really have to love yourself and give yourself a real pat on the back for just being alive and being on the planet now, because there's so much uncertainty. And uncertainty is one of that fear that we have, is one of the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves that we really have to overcome. Because I'm here to say it's gonna be great, but it is scary because we think we don't know it, but actually we do, because it's that part that I began the beginning when I said, I am infinite. It's that peaceful, loving, divine spark of divinity within you. It's always been there during your darkest hour. It's always there with you. That eternal flame of divinity has always been with you. And that's what you can rely on. And that's what's going to be coming through. It'll be burning brighter and brighter and brighter as you become more and more online, not with the artificial technology, but with your true inner divine technology, because you are a multidimensional being, multidimensional. So you have many, many aspects of yourself. And this is a healing process, because many people call them past lives, but I also start at the beginning of the book explaining that there is no time. We create time, or flash sequences. There are different flash sequences, to the illusion of time, to create stories so we can better understand ourselves and lives. And we have many other identities that are happening really right now. And part of the ascension, okay, the true ascension, is recollecting these soul fragments and reintegrating into the immense, divine, infinite human beings we are. Likewise, our Mother Earth, also has many other parts. She's in her fall, she's been fragmented to many different parts of her. There's her that's here, that's the fallen earth. There's Eartha, which is the highest part of her, a piece of her, in the Andromeda galaxy, actually. But it's here with us now. And there's the Gaia and the Tara you hear a lot about. So this is all reconstructing, reintegrating itself, and we're moving away from our downward spiral, because we were not an ascension planet. We have reclaimed our right to be an ascension planet. But we were in the Fibonacci, Fib-A-Not-Chi, downward spiraling downward into fallen parallel universes. But now we are resetting ourselves to the Kristalla, the true spiral, which is returning to divine infinite source. So we all have jobs here. That's part of my job, okay, working with that. And I wanted to talk to you today about Malta, because I actually travel around the planet, kind of setting, energetically, being almost like just giving my body and my energy over, grounding in these frequencies and reconnecting these pieces of our planet, and also pieces of me, because as we travel around, we all have had lifetimes, many, many lifetimes, or like I said, we have many identities, all scattered throughout the multiverse and the cosmos and beyond. And that's a whole nother story. But so as we do, and what I do is I also offer infinite human tours, but usually I go first ahead to scout out the area, so I know the area, and I do some work. And as you do it, you heal yourself, and you also heal or reconnect, our Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, Mother Tara, Mother Earth, all aspects of it. So that I want to talk to you today about the return of the goddesses. So if you visit my website, www.infinitehuman.com, I started this spring when I returned back to Sicily, where I live, with speaking about the return of the divine feminine and the goddess energy. And I spoke about, my newsletters talks about the crowning of the Queen of May and that whole tradition, which basically it was the goddess energy that existed in what we would call, according to his story, uh, is the pagan religions of the goddesses, until the male dominated patriarchal religions, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, no feminine there. I don't know how they did it, but they cut it out. And until the false Christianity, began to take over. And then they declared any goddess, anything emanating that as pagan. And then they linked the whole divine feminine with the moon and the moon goddess and the lunar harness. And I talked a lot about the Lionsgate this year that was between the two moons, the two super blue moons. And I talked about a time to remove this harness, because women have been pulled out, taken out of their status as goddesses, because we are all God, we are all one with God, and goddesses, and linked with the reflection of the solar male. So we've been cast into the shadows and moved out of our position of power into really servitor, to really seen more as breeders and or sexual toys. And I write about that a lot in my book. And I live in Italy, so we call it the Madonna Puttana complex. And I talk a lot about the trauma that women have incurred throughout history. In fact, if you really look at history, very rarely are women mentioned in it. I talk about the only time I ever saw women really talked about in history was in Prague, and it was a museum of torture instruments. And they were used against women. So we all know a little bit, but probably not to the extent of how, like the Inquisition, and how many, at least 5 million women alone. And we all have divine, we all have feminine and masculine. So we're both. So it's not just, but the women who embodied that, okay, in the physically, have really been at a number. I mean, they've been, anyone that had any intuitive abilities or spoke out, using their voice, was, hung or drowned or stoned or burnt. And that's the history of our planet. And women, had no rights. They couldn't own property. They were property. They couldn't even have rights over their own children. They could be raped, beaten, and even killed. And that was just part of being a wife. So it's been a rough road. And now this is the return of the goddesses. Okay. So I get called, so to speak. I get information a lot, just downloads, I call them, that I'm supposed to do something. And I work a lot with my husband, Peter Monroy, who was OBGYN, and he's my twin soul. And you can't see it here, but the book we wrote together. Now, he is no longer in the physical, but we work very much together still. And I was called to go to Malta, and I was terrified. I don't know. I've moved through a lot of fear, but there was a lot of fear coming back. And I always travel now with Kiki. She's my Pomeranian. She's also my service dog. She protects me, and she takes a lot of hits energetically, because that's what animals do. They absorb negativity. So I got that. I was driving, because flying with her is very hard now. It's almost impossible. So I was going to drive over to Malta from Sicily, and they said I couldn't let her out of the car. So I said, okay, Kiki comes with. So I wasn't going to go, and I was actually relieved. Then at the last minute, I found out that I could bring her. So I went. And it took a lot of courage to go because I knew there was a lot of history there. Beautiful history, but also a lot of trauma. And I knew I had to go into a place called the Hypogeum on the autumn solstice. So when I got over there, and it was very difficult to get over there, I stayed in a beautiful resort called the Dragonera. And if anyone knows anything about the dragons, the true dragons, before they fell, were, guardian races, very high, noble, collective rishi races of very evolved beings. And, we have traces of that throughout the planet, of both the good and the bad. So anyway, I was there, and there's a dragon queen, lineage. So I stayed there, and I found out that to get into the Hypogeum was like getting into Fort Knox. I mean, you had to make reservations like months and months in advance. But I got some divine help, and there was a really wonderful guy named George who arranged for me to go there. But I couldn't bring Kiki, my service dog. So I had to get a chauffeur who would watch her while I went down there. And I finally got in. And boy, was that place guarded. It was amazing. We could not even bring our purses or our cell phones or anything. I mean, we were like almost strip searched or something. We weren't that bad. But, because they had a lot of reasons, but we couldn't, really take pictures. I did. I did. I just snuck my camera in, and I'm working on a film, so I'm going to show all that because it's just so highly guarded. And a guy took me in, first of all, because they're okay. So the history they have is all wrong. It's all a put-up job. All right. So I'll tell you the real history, so because it's a very, very important story, and I'm still working on it and intuiting a lot of it. But what happened was, they like many other sites, they found lots of skeletons in there. So they called it like a burial site. It is not a burial site. It is a holier than holy site. It is underground, and there are several chambers. There's one called the Oracle Room, where the acoustics are so perfect that if someone stands in a certain place, they can project their voice or their tones throughout the chamber. And it's a very healing energy, divinely healing. Then there's another chamber called the Holiest of Holies. So these were very sacred, very high science architecture and crafted for rituals, for healing, for toning, for all kinds of ways of communing and holding the grid system. And Malta is a extremely sacred place. It's actually was at one time part of Sicily. And if you look at, I've saw some maps of ancient maps where Malta and Sicily are actually the mountaintops. And they're the mountaintops of, now I've heard Lemuria actually, which was surprised me because I thought they were Atlantis, but Lemuria. And I know here in Sicily, that's a whole nother story because I did a sacred Sicily pilgrimage of the Divine Feminine Temple, one of the first Divine Feminine temples here. And we worked with that on my on a tour that I did in May on Mother's Day. So this, though, however, is when we got into the Divine Feminine was lost. All right, and it was an artificial time loop, and I had to reset it. So what happened in those places was it was okay. It is okay, when ley lines or dragon lines come together, they form nodes or dragon eggs. And this is like one huge dragon egg. The power is so great. And one of the goddesses there was Vaticus, and there's many goddesses there. And who are the goddesses? That's another question. Where did they go? That's my next question, but I'll tell you in a minute. So the goddesses were, okay, one of the goddesses was Vaticus. Now, Vaticus, the Vatican, right, was moved to Rome, but that is her true place. And there happens to be Ley lines. Okay, ley lines are templates around the planet, which are the energetic structure of our Earth. They're like meridian lines in our body. And there's also like points that are called grails, gruel or grails, the Holy Grail. This is what the whole Holy Grail, the search of the whole for the Holy Grail is about. And the Holy Grail is stargates. And those stargates are points around the planet. There's 12 of them. There's many more. There's inner stargates, outer stargates, interdimensional stargates, slider stargates. But the main ones are 12 stargates that we know of. Stonehenge being one of them, Montsegur being another, Sarasota being another. And those are actually portals, gates that you can, if you have the correct genetics, which we don't have now, nobody has it, but you have all 12 strands of your DNA assembled, you can actually walk into them and pass into the higher God source worlds, just like the movie Stargate, in the series, you can literally go through and end up on the other side of the multiverse. So the guardians, the true dragon queens, the true Magi Grail lines, the true goddesses were rulers of not over people, but over the earth. They were protectors of our mother earth. They were protectors of these templates. They were protectors of the Holy Grail of these grid systems. And that was their job, to protect them. Okay, so I'm going to take a break right now, and I'll tell you about what happened and where did the goddesses go as soon as we get back.
All right, we're all clear. Let me save this. I'll be right back.
Okay. And so for any of you that are joining me live, this is what I'll be doing. I'll be streaming live, but I'll also be going live on YouTube and Facebook. So I hope this is going live. I'm not sure. This is my first time testing this. So, oh yeah, it is live. Okay, good. So if you want to make a comment, gosh, okay, I see your comments here. Thank you. Okay, if you have a question, I'm in Facebook now. Finally, I'm figuring this out, guys. It's all very technical for me. But if you have a comment, put it in under here and the being an infinite human being, okay? And I'll try to get to it. I thought I could see it in my studio here in StreamYard, but it's not showing up there. I have to figure out how to do that. I'll learn that. Okay, so, oh, good. Okay, so when I get back, you're going to hear about what happened and how I actually reset it for us. And good news, it's going to be really good. This is on.
All right, just finished saving. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, and welcome back to.
I gotta count you in.
Okay.
All right, here we go. In 4, 3, 2.
And welcome back to the Infinite Human Talk Show. We were talking about Malta and the return of the goddesses, and what a powerful, powerful time this is now. It's an amazing time to be alive. I know it's very challenging, but I'm here to not just sell you hopium, but give you true hope, because things are really shifting. The paths have been cleared. And okay, I am just a small part of this. There's been so much work done. The guardians, and all kinds of highly evolved beings have been working to restore the divine feminine, the mother arc, the goddess energy back to earth. And the pathways have been cleared. And so Malta is just this huge PowerPoint. And the Stargate, the number 5 Stargate, which is the inner Stargate, though, has been restored to Malta. Okay, it's been taken away from the Vatican, so they have no longer have their power there. The Catholic Church and everything that co-opted it, and they co-opted all the goddess, the feminine energy into their Father, Son, and Hungry Ghost, and took everything away from us. And they totally harnessed women to the dark feminine lunar harness, moon goddess. And I mean, I live in Italy. The women, they're treated so bad here. I mean, they just have to put up with so much and really immature, womanini, I call them. But that's another story. So, but we're shifting that. That is all shifting now, and it's challenging. But I'll get to that in a minute. Let me tell you what happened and what we fixed. The wrong timeline was when we walked the earth as goddesses, when we worked in harmony and care with the law of one, honoring and serving our Mother Earth and all of the nature spirits, the tree spirits, the bird spirits, the animal spirits, the water spirits, earth, fire, wind, akasha, all these things we were totally in harmony with. And I would say commanded, but it was a loving command. I mean, we command in the sense that we could hold out our hand and have fire, or we could, ask for the rain to bathe into our crops, or whatever we needed. I mean, it was that we were that powerful, but with a loving, gentle power, because your true strength is in your softness. So we were powerful, loving, amazingly infinite energies, and the divine feminine, and the women were, and we're both masculine and feminine. Each of them have very important jobs. So what happened was, the Christic communities of these Magic Grail lines, these high genetic, especially the women, we cultivated in certain parts of the planet after the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria. We fled, and of course the mountaintops of Sicilia. In where I live, it's called the Eleni, which is the first tribes, the Christic beings on this planet. We built temples, and we brought our the sacred documents. This was the information that Yeshua 12, the true Christ, wrote down, that was what was the Bible before the Catholic Church got a hold of it and totally, co-opted a lot of it, into a savior story. And so what happened was that we would commune in places, and Sicily was one, and then we would, move. This is a repetitive thing. The story I'm about to tell you kept on, and we kept moving from, to sacred areas in France, and then to the Cornwall, to the Wales, Ireland, Scotland. Okay, these were the Magi Grail lines, the high genetic, especially the females. So what happened was we had a beautiful, beautiful, we were recuperating, creating the mystery schools, teaching the Christic principles, teaching the law of one, working with people, helping people with ascension mechanics, doing our thing, in our beautiful goddess temples. And that's when we got invaded, okay? And it happened over and over and over so many times. And in the hypergeum, they found, although they denied it so much, they found elongated skulls, and those elongated skulls were aliens, off-planet beings that were working with us, helping us to recover a lot of our stuff. And what happened was we all went down into these underground temples to hide out, and they had dropping port. They had you can go in there and see there's drops that drop like 6-7 feet, where if someone's invading, they'll just fall to their death. So we were safe there, but we couldn't leave. We couldn't get out. So a lot of people just ended up dying because they would prefer to die than to go out. And this is why. Let me tell you why. Because what happened was, and this is a reoccurring theme, that the fallen angelics who would invade a Christic community, what they did was they would kill the men, and they would take the women as breeders. They would rape them, so because we had high genetics, and we would help to, ensure their seed, the whole, how there's so much. I always wondered about that. Why are men so concerned about their lineage, their seed, because they were breeding fallen angelics, the Anunnaki hybrids that have become now the Illuminati, the elites, the people who are in charge, and they were created to destroy the angelic tribes. So they would breed, with us, creating this hybrid, and so most of us women, we have memories of that. As we begin to heal, we begin to remember that. And that's why we have so many traumas associated with sex, because we were raped, we were used as meat market kind of tactics, or breeders. We were MK Ultra traumatized. They broke the sisterhood, so we were compete with one another, which before wasn't even there. But like were completely dependent on the males for everything. We lost all our power. We were programmed to think we were unworthy, and you can see this today. It goes very deep. I'll talk more about child sacrifice too in Sicily, but that we dealt with that, in when we were in Sicily. But I want to focus now on how women were so mind controlled. It's a mind control because we were powerful, divine goddess beings, and we were so mind controlled that we began to feel like we couldn't voice our opinion, because if we did, we would get, beat down. We began to feel like, our only power was through men, because it was. We were treated like, queens one day and then thrown in a dungeon and tortured the next, so we lost all orientation, all connection with our power from the infinite, from our mother goddess, and we began to fall. We began to forget. And this happened. This happened in Malta. Then in Goza, there was another invasion. These invasions occurred, layers upon layers in many dimensions and throughout history. And this was where the Turks came and took 6,000 people captive. In fact, the noble in the castle, I went there, instead of watching his wife and two daughters be taken by the Turks, he killed them and then died himself a hero's journey. So this is the history, and you can look. The same thing happened in throughout our history. So what happened then was the Templar Knights, that were appointed by, actually they got power from where they were given Malta by the Catholic Church, but these were the false Luciferian Templar Knights, and that was their home. And if you look at history, Queen Elizabeth was like the head of the Templar Knights, or the Maltese Knights. And these were, I didn't see any of the propaganda movies when I was there, but the propaganda movies were all talking about, how wonderful these knights were, how they, saved the church and this and that. No, that was where the goddess fell. And you can't see it now. I brought this back, and I'll just describe it for our listeners, that this is called the Sleeping Lady, but it's actually a goddess. This is a goddess that's thousands of years old, and they say it's famous because of its detail, but it's famous because this was put in the hypogeum buried with other relics of goddess worship, goddess, to prove to us that we were goddesses. And this is a symbol that we had to go to sleep, that the energy, the goddess energy, was not gone. It was simply sleeping. It was taking a rest, because that's what the Templars came in, and they totally desecrated our temples. They totally, wiped us out, interbred with us, and wiped us out. So what did I do? And I was part of a team, but just a very small part. But I went in and toned my Crystalla, and if anyone's heard me, it's very powerful. I was surprised that it's comes through me. I'm not a singer or anything, but when I tone it, around, I tone it wherever I get. I'm supposed to be toning, and I'll have people like in Italy, they'll like applaud me or something, but I'm not doing it for that. But I toned it inside the hypogeum, and I heard just the vibration of the true Crystalla spiral reverberating throughout the chambers, all the way down into the core of our mother. And it was reconnecting all of the earths, the fallen earth, Tara, Gaia, Eartha, and all of it into the Crystalla spiral, resetting it to divine infinite source. And I swear, if I didn't hear myself, my other alternate identity heard me, and it gave me hope. It gave me, it made me remember that we're just sleeping, okay? And we've been asleep. We've been asleep for a very long time. So my question is, okay, I'll give it here myself. My question is, where are the goddesses now? Okay, where did they go? Where did the goddesses go? And here they are. You, me, we are the goddesses, and we are shedding our lunar harnesses, and we're awakening from our sleep, like Sleeping Beauty on the way back on the boat the Traghetto where I put my car in. It was so funny. Maleficent was on, Sleeping Beauty, and we are awakening from this. We're like the sleeping lady who was stored in the hypogeum for thousands and upon thousands of years, 25 BC, thousands of years, even more. And we're awakening to our power. And you know what? The way is clear. The only thing, and that's why a lot of us are going through a lot of stuff right now, is we have to heal. And sometimes you might not even understand why you're feeling depressed, frightened, angry, sad, but it's because all your identities are being healed from this, because this has all been an artificial time loop. And just to go over, because I will be doing something, in the future on my Infinite Human Tours, and I'll open it up to the souls that feel called. But the Temperance Knights then went to France and did the same thing to the Cathars, and they killed the Essenes, they killed the Cathars, they went on into the Romans, went into it's a reoccurring thing, and I just watched Braveheart. Great movie with the Scots, and the Prima Norte being restored, where the nobles could sleep with one of the village girls, before their husband on the night of their marriage. I mean, the history proves this, what I'm saying, and it's happened over and over. But we're those are artificial timelines that were not meant to happen, and we are now healing. And just, it was like it was yesterday or a minute ago, a flash sequence ago, that we were divine, powerful women that walk the earth, women and male, both masculine and feminine. And so now I'm going to say to you, because we just have a few minutes left. I was wondering if I had enough to say, but I want to just say that it's time for women to really, the real work right now, okay, is feel. You have to feel to heal. So don't get busy. You know how we get busy. Either you have a drink, or I like sugar. I'm off of sugar today, and I'm getting off of it. But or you get busy with social commitments, or what do we usually do? We always put everyone else first. We're always there for our husbands, for our children, for our parents, for our friends. And we're so busy, we aren't able to really go down into the depths of our soul to heal what needs to be healed, and to start really thinking about who we are. Why are we here? What do we want to create? What kind of wonderful life, what kind of wonderful future do we want to co-create for ourselves? And it doesn't mean you have to cut yourself off of everyone. It doesn't mean you can't be a mother, you can't be a wife, you can't be a daughter, you can't be a friend, a sister. You can be these things, but you've always put, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've been brainwashed, mind control, into always feeling unworthy and putting everyone else's needs before ours. And that is the story. That is the mind control. We have to get out of that, because we're goddesses. And then we can really help people. We can really help people by coming into our power. Oxygen mask on ourselves first. So self-love and self-worth are the courses for the rest of 2023, so we can be ready for rip roaring, fun in 2024, because it's going to get exciting as the meek inherit the world, as the women and the divine feminine take its back. So I would say this is a good one. Commit. It's time to start committing, because I know I'm the same way. Women, we're very feminine, we're very creative, and but we also tend to always, like, we have something we want to do, but our child came in and needs to put a band-aid on. Oh, my husband called, he needs to, everyone else is pulling you off course. And in order to accomplish, in order to become the change, be the change, because we're the ones that are going to do it different. The masculines aren't going to do it different because they're not feeling it. They might not really like the way things are, but they're not going to change it. They're looking to us. I really think men are looking to us to be the change and to think in new categories and to do things differently. And that's what we really have to do. So I will say, in wrapping up here, it's time to commit to your dreams, all right? And to begin to, bring your future into, what you want into reality, to co-create the reality. My light's failing here too. So do what makes you excited. I mean, this goes with self-worth, because we're like, oh no, I have to take care of everyone else before me. I can't think of me. I can't do something I want. I can't play. I can't have fun doing my job. I can't earn a lot of money, because, well, women just don't do that. I mean, we're going to have to break a lot of these stereotypes. And it's time to not be a stereotype, because your true self, your authentic self, is not a stereotype. All right. You are not a stereotype. So it's time to really tune into who you really are and be it. Clear out some space for yourself. It doesn't mean you can be there more for other people. And then start really getting excited, finding out what you're passionate about, finding out what your soul mission is, and really, really committing to it. I know as a woman, a lot of times, and I was the same way, when I was married to Peter, he came first, but, you might have a friend and you're going to go out to dinner and, oh, I can't go, Jerry's staying home tonight. And, it's like all your other commitments are, it's like, Peter used to say, you pee and you change your mind. It's like, it's dust in the wind, you're not grounded. So you need to be more like a oak. You need to really root yourself into Mother Earth, which gives you your sustenance. Reach yourself up to the stars, to the sky, to the sun. See how far you can grow. And this is where the divine masculine is going to kick in, because you need to find that herogamic union within you of both divine feminine and divine masculine. And set your sight you're on the stars. Reach for the stars. Set your goal. Make a goal for yourself and work every day towards that. And don't let anyone get in your way. You can still take care of them, but don't let them distract you. Don't let them take away from you, from what you're building, from your self-worth, because you're vital. You're co-creating a whole new earth right now. You're the foundation, the building block for this new infinite reset. And you're bringing back the pieces as you're healing yourself. You're bringing back the pieces of yourself. You're bringing back the pieces of our Mother Earth and all her manifestations. So it's a very powerful time. So the goddesses are returning, and you are the goddesses. Okay, you are the goddesses. You are the goddesses, and we've been programmed always. And I tell people, because they read my book and they say, "Oh, you had such a wonderful relationship with your twin soul, with your husband. Oh, I want that," And I'm glad I had it because I did have the fantasy. I mean, we did a lot of the Prince Charming stuff, but the truth is, I was a victim, who got rescued. Yeah, it was fun, damsel in distress. And yes, he made my dreams come true and all that. And that's a program, definitely, Prince's program. And we have to really move beyond that because we have to move beyond this victim. We have been victimized, but we can no longer be that time loop because it's not even real. It's gone. It's not there anymore. So we have to stop seeing ourselves as a victim. We have to stop putting our power out there, wanting some man or some person to make our some president, some leaders, some La Papa, the next 2024 president to make everything all right. We are the ones that are going to love it into creation. We're going to love our dreams into creation. We're going to love the life we're creating for ourselves, and we're going to get in there and make it happen. And we're going to use that masculine, divine masculine side of ourselves to make our dreams come true. And as we do, we will shift the planet. We will shift the planet out of the mess it's in into the higher dimensions, into unity consciousness, into a beautiful reality. So my time is running out here, but I hope that was inspirational because it's an exciting time, especially if you can get out of the, you need to feel. Please don't disregard your feelings and express your feelings. If you need to paint, if you need to write, if you need to just cry, that's fine. But then move on. Don't throw a pity party and don't always focus on that. After you've done whatever you need to do to feel, to heal, then move on and start focusing on your goals. What do you want to create? You are the creator of your own reality, of your own holographic template. What do you want to create? You can create anything. You are infinite. So our time has come. The meek are inheriting the earth. We're creating the earth. And it's exciting. And everyone has a job. Everyone's a divine piece of this magnificent jigsaw puzzle. And we're all coming together. So I hope this has helped you. I'm going to be putting out a newsletter on my website, www.infinitehuman.com, and sharing a film that I made of Malta while I was there, and just discussing more about what it was. If you have any questions, now next week we'll be live on voiceamerica.com on the Empowerment Channel, and you'll be able to call in if you want to. And also, if you go to my website, my email's there. If there's something you want to talk about or a question you want me to address, I'll be doing this once a week, so you can send it to infinitehumanproductions@gmail.com. So thank you guys for joining me and listening to this. And, just I hope you realize how powerful you are. What an exciting time this is. The energies have been cleared. I know we have in the back of our mind, oh, but it's not going to work. Because how many times have we tried something and we've gotten slapped back down? But that hand that slapped us back down is no more. It's going. In November, things are going to be amazing. We're just going to feel a lot of opening up. So do your work, do your inner work. That's very important. And stay tuned in. Stay tuned in. Right? Okay, so thank you very much. And until next week, I'm signing off as the Infinite Human Talk Show, Elizabeth Monroy. Ciao for now.
All right, we're all clear. Great show, Elizabeth.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Have a great week.